Welcome to the Cruise TV, where we focus on the people and stories behind some of the most amazing rides on the road. I'm your host, Stephanie Lastoria, and we're coming to you from Haggerty Garage and Social in Burlington, Ontario. On this episode, we're going to be looking at analog driving machines, and by that we mean manual transmission and no driving aids. The cars are going to be a 1965 Factory 5 Cobra, a 2016 Polaris Slingshot, and a 2006 Ford GT40. Stay tuned, guys.
So my car is registered as a 2021 Factory 5 Roadster. It's a replica of the 1965 Shelby Cobra. The car came to me in October of 2020 and was finished in February of 2023. We looked at doing a project car, and we wanted to find something that was iconic in the muscle car category, so we picked the replica Shelby Cobra. In some sense, you could say the car is completely modified, but it is a replica of the original car with upgrades to brakes and suspension and engine, which we'll certainly address that as we do the drive today. A dream car would be the 1965 Daytona Coupe, the original car, the one that beat Ferrari. So it was about 10 years ago, my wife and I gave up motorcycling for a variety of reasons, but one of them was because we were starting to get into the teenage years with our 3 boys and also our youngest daughter. And then as a family, we thought we wanted to do some kind of a project together. And restoring an old car was not something that excited me because, you know, none of us in our family have any technical abilities at all. As a matter of fact, I never changed oil in a car in my entire life until I actually changed the oil in this car for the first time. So taking on a Factory 5 Roadster project seemed like the best thing to do if we were going to do a car project, because through Factory 5 you can build a brand new car. You don't have to go to the salvage yard. You don't have to really be technical in the sense of engine technology and that sort of thing. You just need to know how to be able to follow instructions really well. And so we got a hold of Factory 5. We talked to them about what kind of car we wanted to build. We didn't want to race it. We didn't want to put it on a drag strip. We just wanted to build a car that we would have a nice Sunday afternoon drive in, maybe go to Dairy Queen and do some touring around. And so the project began in August of 2020. We took shipment of the kit right at our house, transformed our garage into a tech shop, and had to buy all the tools associated with building a car like this. Everything from cordless drills to socket sets to wrenches, and we started putting this car together. And it was a big task, it really was, because we'd never done anything like this before, but with a lot of help from Factory 5, with a lot of help from their rep up in Sudbury, and his name's Ryan Valens. He did a great job in helping us getting going. And then we started to put this car together. What was really exciting was within a 6-month period, we had a running go-kart. Factory 5 doesn't supply an engine or a transmission for a car like this. You have to get your own running gear. And so we worked with Blueprint Engines out of the US, and I had them supply me a 347 fuel-injected engine with a Tremec 5-speed manual transmission. And it literally was just drop the engine in, hook it up, and you're good to go. Now, of course, it's a little bit more than that as far as the wiring harness goes. But in 6-month period, we were able to take a go-kart, turn the key, and the second turn of the key, the car started and actually ran. And it was such a thrilling day for us. And that would have been in May of 2021, if I remember correctly. And then after that, it was starting to piece the car together as far as interior components, getting the exhaust sorted out, working with Factory 5 to do some fine-tuning on alignment and that sort of thing. And then I was in contact with a really good friend of mine named Johnny Dryden. And Johnny's an exceptional painter, and we're so thrilled with what he did as far as bodywork and paint goes, because he gave us a stunning paint job. My wife and I spent a lot of time looking at, you know, what are we going to do for color? And it was actually her that put me onto the 1965 original color, which is what you see on this car now with Wimbledon white stripes. And this is called Brittany Blue. It was a color that was offered in 65 to 67. And so we were excited to be able to do a real vintage color. I mean, as you can hear from the car, it has a great bark. The car drives great. It's all new components. So as much as it has a vintage look, it really does drive and handle really well. One of the things that really excites us about having this car is actually how it's brought, you know, so much of our family and friends together. And it sounds funny to put it that way, but through the build, we had people popping in all the time to ask us how it was going. My dad is unfortunately, he left us about a month ago. And, you know, in our family, we make no excuses nor apologies that we serve God. We love our family and we try to have fun along the way, and my dad was a big part of that. And I was so excited to be able to have him see this car finished. Even though we lost him a month ago, it was this past April that we were able to get together with Dad. And with three of us, we were able to put him inside the car. And him and I had a really good drive together. And it's a memory that I'll always keep with me, because it was something that he never thought that he would get to see the completion of. And so that's a real thrill, obviously. Most of the time we spend our weekends now on beautiful days like this. You know, we try to take a couple hours each weekend and go for a drive, and it's really, for us, we've never been part of a car community. The people have been great. We love to get together with people that have old vintage cars or original cars or replica cars, and we just talk to them about how their project went and what they've done, and maybe something that we can learn from. One thing that's done for me is it's given me another way to go clear my head. I get in this car and go for a drive, and yeah, it's got tons of power. There's no doubt that if you get into it, it really wants to go. But it's just a great way to get my head cleared. The one thing that's been very helpful with that is, just speaking on the technical side a little bit, is we did order the car with the 2015 IRS suspension, so independent rear suspension, that just allows for great handling on a car like this. The car runs 17-inch wheels, so it runs like 335s in the back, so it's got tons of grip. It's got tons of power with 410 horsepower, which according to Blueprint Engines, that's power that's right to the wheels. So at 2,000 pounds, you can just imagine with a car that's light and with that much power, you have to be careful when you get into it, because it really wants to go, but it just drives and handles great. So it's been a total thrill. Would I do it again? People ask me all the time. And you know, I never thought that this is something that I would repeat, but after having the car now for a full season, you know, I actually would do another car. And the one thing that I would like to do is the replica 65 Daytona Coupe. That is another kit that Factory 5 builds. And our experience through them is that they've done such a great job with a kit like this. You know, that doing a Daytona Coupe actually doesn't frighten me at all, but it excites me to maybe take on another project.
It's a 2016 Polaris Slingshot. I've had the car since 2017. I just love them. When I seen them, and I thought it's the drive. It's all about the drive for me. Yeah, it has headers, performance exhaust, and open air. I can't think of one. There's so many. And if I want something bad enough, I'll get it. this is the toy. It's a cross between a go-kart and a Formula One racing car. It's super light, 200 horsepower to the back tire. It's just a lot of fun to drive. So, I don't know what else you want to know there. Thumbs up. Just about everything on the road when you're driving. The only thing is, if you see a dead animal and you go in the middle, it's going to hit your back tire. So you got to offset it. But having traffic in front of you sort of slows down the enjoyment.
It's a 2006 Ford GT. I've had this car for 4 years. I've always wanted to get one. It's a legendary car. It came with some modifications, downpipes, supercharger. My dream car would be the McLaren F1. .550 horse V8. It's an update of the original Ford GT made in the 60s that went against Ferrari, won Le Mans. I believe it was 50 years after the fact that they decided to make this, and it was the 100th anniversary of Ford. And this car also won Le Mans when it came out. So they made it two model years, 2005, 2006. It's all analog, and it's a sports car. Pure sports cars, pleasure drive. Feel that raw, visceral experience. As fast as any of the supercars today, but it's a driver's car. There's no computers, it's just you and the machine. You feel everything when you drive it. So I always wanted to get one of these cars, and then when I heard about the movie Ford vs. Ferrari come out, I decided I should pull the trigger and get it soon, otherwise it'd be harder to find. Yeah, there's no traction control, it's just, you gotta know. You hear that? I love cars. I'm an engineer. I've driven all kinds of cars. Had supercars, but I mean McLarens, Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Porsche. But this is completely different. I mean, they're good in their own right, but this is just a complete analog, mechanical, pure driving experience. It makes you really respect the machine because you really have to learn your car to drive it well. Whereas when I drive, say, one of the McLarens, they're very forgiving. You can drive them fast and it makes you feel like you're a better driver than you are. On this one, you learn really quick that there's so much power. You can spin the wheels in any gear, and you really got to learn how to, drive. But it's my favorite car to drive. So when I drive this, I'm just focused on driving and being present, enjoying the experience. I actually drive this a lot too on the weekends. I take it out. I go on long road trips with it too. It's very surprisingly comfortable, and it's very reliable for a car of its caliber. It's as fast as any of the other supercars. It's got some huge rubber on this car. Once you warm the wheels up, it sticks. And the roar of the engine is just amazing. It's a symphony. I highly recommend it if you ever get the chance to drive one of these, or if you're lucky enough to be able to own one of these. I highly recommend getting it if you can. And when they first came out, they were about $200,000, and surprisingly, Ford had a tough time moving them, so the price dropped, and now they're, they've tripled in value, and it just keeps going up. And the thing is, with this, you got to drive it like a race car. So, it's good to redline it and do all those things. I remember when I first got it, they said I was being too easy on it. Great car to take to the track.
Okay guys, so that's our episode. Thank you so much for joining us on The Cruise TV. If you'd like to be featured in future episodes, please reach out to us on our Instagram. Again, I'm your host, Stephanie Lastoria, and we'll catch you cruising on the open road.